Happy Sunday, everyone. It's a beautiful day today. I just thank you for joining in. Today is going to be our Q&A time, and so I'm going to look closely for any questions and things that I can answer or that we can discuss. But we're going to give that a few minutes for everybody to get on and for us to get going. I see Lorena's in I was going to say kitchen, but she's not. She's on her barbecue pit and she's making looks like some really delicious elote. I wish I had some of that, Lorena. Anyway, I was kind of caught up watching everybody else, what they were doing on Instagram. So that's always fun for me as well. I want to just welcome everyone and just remind you who I am. My name is Karen and they call me Dr. D. And I am the founder and CEO of MIDC, which is the Multicultural International Development Company. And we do all kinds of things as it relates to education and curriculum and just knowledge with regard to cross-cultural traditions. And so I try to put all of that together when we come together and we talk about things beyond what just the mind tells us, but also we're tapping into what the heart tells us as well. So it's been a really exciting week, I think, for most people that have been checking in. They've been pretty appreciative, and I'm so happy that I can have that opportunity to be able to share with you. And again, I'm just facilitating some things here. It takes a collective body to be able to have full knowledge of all the things that we're talking about here. So your input is always important to me as well. So peace and love. Peace is power, right? I want to give a shout out to my daughter for letting me wear this sweatshirt today because it's what we're all about for sure. Let's just kind of recap as people are coming on. This week we have really focused in on calming the spirit, calming ourselves, our whole selves, right? And we've done that through a number of activities and discussions. And those discussions have been centered around understanding what we're made of as human beings. We're made of just lots of energy, the same energy that the world and the universe is made of. And that's what makes us all connected to everything. We're not generally taught that when we're coming up. And so that's why sometimes it just seems so unusual. People kind of put that in a category of metaphysical, right? And as though that's something that is not understandable or something that is not true. And so again, we're really going to try to explore that. So I'm talking a little bit, but today, again, is Q&A. I'll come back to some of those other things. I was just waiting for people to get on. Hey to my grandson, Dom the Bomb. I see Peace Jones there. Hey, you're loving this, huh? I think I'm going to have to see if I can talk my daughter into letting me wear it sometime or maybe giving it up. Who knows? But okay. All right. Ooh, somebody said looks good on me. Okay, I like that. Okay. Keep putting that out there and maybe she'll hear it and, have some sympathy that mom needs that shirt. Okay. All right. So I want to, oh my goodness. Is that my granddaughter joining me? Is it the iced tea? How you doing, T? I love you. I hope you're doing okay there. All right. So y'all watching me. Well, good. I got to send a picture of my flowers because they are still in bloom, looking beautiful. And I took a picture last night. I was going to send it. So I'm going to be sure to do that. But flowers, they're all about love, and those colors just really help to generate. So I love the fact that this sweatshirt, not only the message of the sweatshirt, but the fact is that it's the color blue. And we know that our throat chakra is the blue chakra, and it is all about truth, right? Putting truth to power, which is what we're kind of doing today. So let me see. I'm just trying to look to see. If it was a gift, you can't give it up. But maybe we can order it. All right. So you might have some things that you want to check in with me about today. You've been hearing a lot of things. I've been talking about how do we calm the mind, right? The mind that goes a mile a minute, because that's what it's programmed to do. It's a computer, and it just takes in all of this information, and then we live by what the mind tells us to do. And so very often we're so caught up in the mind, and that mind actually being what we talk about, the ego, always having to be in control. And so we're trying to move a little away from that a bit, just to understand that the heart is so very powerful, and it helps to balance those things and helps us to understand what life is more about. So let me see, I'm looking in here. Communicating our truth, most definitely. And okay, so what kind of questions do you have? What had you heard this week that may have been the first time you've heard of these things, like the chakras, for instance, and those chakras being energy points, and how we can tap into those chakras to be able to do so many more different things in life and have a much better attitude in the process of doing that. Has everybody understood those chakras pretty much? Okay. Hey girl, I see my daughter Deb has joined. Welcome, welcome. Okay, and so I'm just asking, it looks like people are pretty familiar with the chakras, and I've been asking all week long. If you're not, start taking the time to do that, right? The one thing I really want to commend everybody today, and those who have been checking in all week long, 30 days, that's a long time to dedicate yourself to each and every day. I'm going to take 30 minutes out of my day to really work on self-love, loving me, and why that is so important. And, we do other things every day and never ask, one question about it. Whether or not that's if we have to get up and feed our children, get them out to school. We do things, in a regimented fashion all the time. We're doing things, right? But when it comes to doing things for ourselves, then we say, today, man, I'm kind of tired. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. Maybe I'll catch it later. And we just put things off when it comes to us. And I'm saying that we have to be first in order to serve others and in order to serve ourselves and to be most happy. So again, I am so grateful to all of you who have been just checking in because that's important. That's saying a lot about what you think about yourself and what you think you deserve. So that is so very, very important. So I'm still checking out. Okay, I got my daughter-in-law Jess is on. I'm glad to see you there. And of course, Marion is there. So we got a good group to kind of talk about some things today. I'm just kind of going on until I get some good questions. Not only do we talk about the chakras and the colors that those chakras are associated with, right? But we also talked about how stones and crystals also. Okay, so I'm seeing a question here. Let's see. We do things on automatic pilot. That is for sure. Okay. Okay, I don't see the question. Can you send that question again? If that's possible. Okay, I got a question about a pendulum. And I haven't introduced the pendulum as of yet, but I will go ahead and do that since you've asked me about it. Because we're talking about stones, and again, how much our bodies are, believe it or not, are compatible to the kinds of stones that we've been talking about. We've been talking about crystals. We've been talking about jade. That the tiger eye is really important to me. And people say, how can you put this into a stone? Well, again, this is what we are made of and what gives us so much energy. And if stones weren't worth the time of day, then why do we, dig out diamonds, Why do so many people die going into these mines and getting these precious stones? Because they are exactly precious, but they're also very powerful. So since I've introduced the chakras, I've talked about the stones, we've talked about chakra cards, which we might go back to. I'm going to talk a little bit about a pendulum. So I have a pendulum here today. This is a very simple one. It's made of copper. Okay, so again, thinking about all of the different resources in the world, these are all, this is a part of who we are. All of these things that I'm talking about is what makes up the human body, but we haven't been taught on how to be able to use them, right? So the pendulum has a lot to do with the heart. It also has a lot to do with being able to align your chakras. Sometimes those chakras get knocked out of whack for a lot of different reasons. And sometimes we just need to pull it all together. So it's just like sometimes you might feel just a little imbalanced, that something's off a little bit. Well, that's the same thing in our energy fields. Our energy fields can get off, and then we're not picking up the right signals, okay? So in going back to the heart, which we are going to continue with the drum today, and we're going to extend that a little more. Our heart has so much energy that flows from it that even if you put your hand, we put our hands on our heart yesterday, and we heard our hearts beating to the drum, and the drum beating to it, right? It has energy. It has energy to attract. And we want to be able to attract positive things into our lives. So this is a pendulum, and believe it or not, when you have your mind clear, usually pendulums work very well when we are not in our letting our mental state control us and tell us this is all ridiculous. It's when we calm the mind through our breath and connect more to the heart that the heart can then do its work. And so usually, and I don't have anyone to lie down, so I'm just going to put this on my knee, these two pillows. And so it won't be accurate, but I want you to pretend, and this says peace, by the way, but I want you to pretend this is just over the heart. And I'm going to ask a question, and that question is either going to be a yes, no, or maybe. And when it's a yes, it's going to go just like this. Now, I'm just simply holding it straight. I'm not moving it whatsoever. I did ask a question, so that was kind of nice to see that I have a yes. Okay. And sometimes when the heart feels like, this is just something that energy-wise, it's not working today for you as well. It will go from side to side. Now, I am going to do this just for you to see it swing that way. But generally, what it will do is you have it over the heart, you center it, you're asking your question very sincerely and very intentionally, and then it will just move in its direction, okay? When it circles, so if it's circled, and you never do this, so you see me, I'm moving it, right? So you never move it. It does it itself. It attracts itself. And now, how many of you have been science majors and you know the different energies that attract and can move things? It's in our plant life, as we know as well. And so this is it's a nice check-in sometimes. And, I don't always, just like the cards, I don't always say, it's a sure-proof fact, so go out and do that particular thing. It's just a response from the heart. Okay, so that is the pendulum, and you can use it to ask yes, no questions, and it will generally do that when you are calm and able to ask as well. So let's see if there are any other questions that have come up. Okay. Hey there. Okay. Hey, Jordan, how you doing today, sweetie? Okay, I'm seeing some other folks coming on as well. So today is Q&A time, and we've got probably about 15 minutes to really, well, I'm going to give us about 14 minutes because I want to get us ready for next week. So let's see, there's another question. Thank you for answering my question on the pendulum. You are welcome. Let's see what other question is going to be shared. Oh, how do we know when our chakras are out of balance? It's just like with anything that we feel out of balance today. So let me see if I can give sort of an analogy of maybe a physical out of balance piece, and then I'll relate that to, you know, how maybe the chakras might be out of balance as well. So you partied all night long, right? Had a few drinks. Then you got to get up early in the morning and you got to go to work. And part of your work is speaking to a whole crowd of people, right? And you're like, I know my stuff, but whoa, man, last night I'm just like, I just kind of got a little bit out of balance there. I'm just not thinking. My brain is a little bit clogged up and I'm not thinking as sharp as I usually do, right? And so I want you to kind of think about that in the same way as your chakras. When you're not giving attention to your chakras, and that means acknowledging the fact that you are energy, breathing properly, okay? When you wake up in the morning, make it a practice to take 3 nice deep breaths. It's called prana. It's called getting your energy together and exhaling. It's like drinking a glass of water, right? To quench your thirst, like I'm going to do right now, because I'm thirsty. And so that's when you know that your chakras are out of balance, when you're not being attentive to them. So if you have not been attentive to them, if this is some new material that I've been discussing all week, it's likely that your chakras may be out of balance. And so what helps with that again is your breath, okay, is your meditation. And I can almost bet that all of us, are somewhat out of balance with the chakras. And so for the next 30 days, we're going to be working on that. We're going to work on that, though, in some different ways. Like coming up for next week, we're going to be balancing our chakras through creativity. Because, okay, left side of brain, we know that we have all of our creativity there. And then, of course, on right side, we're talking about analytical ways of thinking, and that's the mind brain, right? And then here is the heart brain. And when these two come together in balance, we're usually in pretty good balance as well. So what we want to be able to do is we put off, and especially during this time right now, we have been so focused on the world and the material sense of just this horrific pandemic that's going on, and all kinds of other fears that are coming to mind that really just blocks that natural energy that we have. And so what will help to center that energy, again, is to take in nice deep breaths, clear the lungs, exhale out the energy that you do not need, okay? And then have positive thoughts. The heart, the reason why I love the heart, because deep down in the heart, this is what it is. It works for peace and love. And so when we're being kind in every way to everyone, despite what's going on, kindness brings about a balance in our energy and in our chakra. So if you are doing anything positive for yourself and for others, that's usually going to generate, you ever notice that? People will compliment you and give you all kinds of accolades for things when they see how kind you are, when they see that you care about others. You attract people to you. Well, guess what that is? That's the energy that I'm talking about. That's your chakra energy. That's your aura that is around you. And that is being generated from those energy points and especially from the heart. So let's see if we have any other questions here. Okay, Mary's asking, a manifestation of the life you wanted, so to speak. Okay, how do we manifest what we want in life? And I would say that that comes from meditation. Now, do you remember what I talked about when I gave a definition for meditation? Because so many people think that it's a matter of just staying for hours in total silence and trying to free the mind. But we talked about the zone yesterday, right? And what makes you feel good? When you're in the zone, you are doing your thing. You are doing your thing. It's your passion, okay? And so what helps to manifest the things that you want in life is to move toward that direction of doing the things that make you feel good. You know when you're doing something that doesn't make you feel good. You know when you're doing something that does make you feel good. And sometimes we have situations where we have to do things that aren't as pleasant, but we want to make sure that we're balancing it. So I would say positive attitude. And the biggest thing I would say is visualization, right? So, you know, yesterday we talked about having the key. You have the key. Nobody else has the key but you to your heart. And your heart has so many different layers, chambers, so many different doors. And you know what? When we're living the life that we're living in, there are many different openings of who we are. But we have the tendency just to go into one door because we're used to that door, because we trust that door is going to be what it is that it's always been. What I am challenging you to do is to be willing to go beyond that door. Take that key. You went through that first door. You went to that second door and you sat down with your childhood self. You shook that hand of your childhood self, and we're going to start you from the very beginning to know what you should be manifesting. But just know for right now, whatever it is that makes you feel good is likely what you need to be manifesting. Okay? Manifest joy and happiness, and those things will come to you. What you put out in the world is what you get back in the world. And I know you've heard that before, many of you, right? Okay, so let's see if there are any more questions here.
Have you ever read The Artist's Way by Julie Cameron?
I have not, but I would love for you. I've been getting some wonderful... Who is it by?
Camille Design.
Oh, okay. Hey, Camille.
It's called The Artist's Way by Julie Cameron.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I love the title. I don't even know what the book... I can imagine what the book is. But we've gotten about 4 or 5 just wonderful, some of which I've read before or I've listened to on audio. But I've been getting some really great resources to share with you, right? And so I think I'm going to find a way that I can just put all of that together this week, all those resources coming in. So feel free to send me a few things. Send me pictures of yourselves. Send me quotes that you want us to affirm every day. One of the things that helps me for manifesting, Mary, is take sticky notes. And whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, put it everywhere in the house, in the mirror, in your bed, on the floor, on your clothes, wherever you can find it. And sometimes I just write, you got this, right? Or you're loving yourself, whatever that is, you can put all different kinds of things. Put it everywhere. That's all you see. And that's the reprogramming that I'm talking about that's going to help you manifest well. So Camille, send me that so that I can add that to the list and we can get that out to other folks as well, all right? Okay. All right. So what else we got?
I also have a question. Can you talk about some books you can recommend now? Maybe to share some titles or any meditative books that you use personally?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I say if this is something that's starting off new for you, and I'm of the mind to KISS, right? to keep it short and simple. To pick up things. Sometimes we read things, it gets so complicated, then we don't even think that's something that we want to do. But I love this young brother. His name is Ralph Smart, and he gave that name to himself, and he's on video all the time, but he does have a book. I sent that book to you, Neon. I think, what was it? Feeling Alive? May have been the name of the book. Feeling Alive. It's a little tiny book like that, but after you read that, oh my goodness, we're going to have so many wonderful conversations together. So let's even say that we're going to take a look at Ralph Smart's book as well. Then I go way back to some of the folks when we first started talking about metaphysical things. Some of the metaphysical, I would even say, scholars of the field, and they've passed on, but their words still stay with me. Some of you may have heard of Wayne Dyer before, and he has tons of books. He published with Hay Company, and Louise Hay, she's another one. You want to talk about 101 affirmations that you can say every day that will change your life like that. Within 21 days, you'll start seeing things so very differently. Those are a couple of, again, what I would say to be some very solid folks as it relates to the kinds of things that we're talking about. I will add to that list. I'll put a lot of things on my list because I just don't read. I also like where we talked, Camille shared about the art. Maybe that's something in physical art. So that creativity really gets me motivated a lot. So I have a lot of different creative kinds of things I'd like to suggest to you as well for that.
Donna asked, would you be able to send this in an email format?
Now, those of you who are we members, I've got about 115 women that are actually Women Empowerment Network members, and they are because they've either signed up on my website, which is midc.com, and you can do that. It's $25, right? And it lasts for a year, and we do things like this together. So that's one way of becoming a member, and those who are on that, they always get the emails that we send out. So I'd love to send that out, or you can just DM me your email address, and I'd be happy to add you to that list as well. Okay.
Yeah, it might be cool to do like maybe a book club type of situation after the 30 days, and we can recommend books to each other. That might be something you want to tap into.
I love that. And so my daughter, she's in the other room talking with me as well. You probably can hear her. But what she's suggesting is after the 30 days, we actually do have a bit of a book club that we would share, that we would all read together, and then really take that through as well. I'm wanting to get to things with you like sound healing. I want to bring on guests. I know my sister Donna is online, and she is a doctor of counseling and therapy. Always has some really great suggestions on how to work through things. So I have so many, I talked about this in the very beginning, so many colleagues that specialize in so many different areas. I even have, I don't know if Charles is on here today, but Charles actually can take a picture of your aura. Okay. And so the last time he took a picture of my aura, it was high in indigo, right? And I was really up in here. I'm really living that. So I said, okay, I need to balance. So I need that root chakra as well. It's special. I'm a special person, I guess, to know that I'm indigo and very spiritual. But so many different things I want to introduce you to. But start looking at some crystal books. This is one of my daughters. But start learning the power of crystal. And like it or not, everyone, I am going to start talking about plant life. Okay? And if we want to be totally healthy and having a good life, it takes a lot of things. It takes the food that we put into our bodies. It takes the mental attitude that we have being positive. It takes understanding our energy. There are a lot of different things, but guess what? When we really begin to pull that together for us, and I'm hoping that we're going to continue with this in some different kind of ways, and we'll talk more about what that would look like at the end.
Before time's up.
Okay, so before time's up, there's another question.
This one for me. Could you give a recommendation for those who are on the go, who don't have a lot of time to meditate? It may be for reasons of children.
Yes.
Could you give some recommendations for a 5-minute meditation or a 2-minute? Does it matter how long you're in your meditation? And could you recommend any ones to follow? You know.
Okay. All right. That's a very good question to end with as well. First of all, I would say that there's don't feel like you have to put a time on meditation. You may have to do your meditation in some very different ways. That means you're pretending to go to the bathroom, like when I was a little kid and I had lots of brothers and sisters. And if we got a snack, we'd have to go somewhere and hide because everybody else would say thumbs up and you'd have to share, right? So find a little place, maybe even in the bathroom sometime. Stay a little longer in the bathroom, right? When you wake up in the morning before everyone else wakes up, if that means you get up 15 minutes earlier, that's one of the best times to meditate. You know why? We haven't talked about it yet, but we're going to get to it. Because you're just coming out of your dream state, okay? And when we're in dream states, and some of us will talk about lucid dreams and all kinds of other things, but when you're just coming out of a dream state, you are still very much in touch with those spiritual energies. And so it's that time, just pretend you're sleeping for an extra 10 minutes. Try to get those 10 minutes in there. Try to get it throughout the day whenever you have little spots that you can, kind of sneak in some time. The other best time is late at night, just before you go to bed. Set your intention. Mary, this is for you as well as for others about, manifestation. Set your intent. What is it that you want to dream about, to do, to see? Let that be the last thing on your mind before you go to bed, and just lay with it. Don't have to think about it or whatever. Okay? Again, okay, there's one more question. My daughter says I should answer it. I know we're a minute too over. Let me take a look.
Mary Peace Jones. The question was, are you vegetarian or vegan? You did touch in a little bit about plant-based.
Okay. And we definitely we're going to be getting into these things for the following weeks as well. I have been I don't know when I go back to chicken and fish sometime, I'm not quite vegetarian, but since 1977, I have not eaten any pork or any beef, any very little dairy. And that came from me being a dancer in a dance company and reading. Here's another great book, and it's old as heck. But I'm trying to think of it's Eating for Mother Nature, and it was written by, oh my goodness gracious. Okay, it might come to me. But after reading that book in 1977, I went into being a vegetarian, mainly a vegan. And so I still eat 51% vegan in my diet. And it gives me a lot of energy. I also want to teach everybody how to juice. Is that it?
I was saying, could you touch on living enzymes, how it's the importance of plant-based and what it does by not cooking your meals?
Yeah, because when you cook your meals, now I do have a steamer because I do like some things a little softer than others to eat, but I have a steamer, I have a wok, I have different things when I want to soften my food. When you cook food, at a high Fahrenheit, you're burning out all of the enzymes of the food. Okay? When you eat that food fresh, and we're going to talk about gardening and doing other things, and I think maybe Dee, you talked about Jordan starting a garden. We need to start gardens for a number of reasons, because there's stuff happening out here and we don't know what things are going to be like. Eating fresh from the garden, you begin to, let me just put it this way, and I know I'm going a little long here, but I think that this is really important. Just imagine, when you eat living food, you are a living being. When you eat dead, food that is dead, especially food that has not been raised in ways in which, they're being fed things that you would never put into your body. Okay, when you eat processed foods with things that you would never put into your body that are considered poisonous. But again, we've been taught to eat these things, so we do. And our bodies are miraculous. But look at how much cancer and all kinds of other things are in the world because of that. Back in the day when people were eating fresh out of their gardens, they were so much healthier, right? So it takes a lot to come into who you are. But let's do it. Let's do that together, to come into who we are, because we've got a lot of work to do out here in the world. We've got we've got some legacy to leave for our kids, and we're just not telling them the right things right now for them to be great. So, you know what we have to do before we end, okay? Put your hands on your heart. We're going to take the breath. We're going to bring it on down. And then tonight I want you to just think about some of the things that we talked about. And starting tomorrow, I want you to start digging out creative things. If you like to sew, if you like to wash glasses, I don't care what it is. If you like to paint on something, you need a canvas. You have whatever it is that you like to do creatively with your hands. And we're going to talk about why, how the hands and the motion and the things go together with what I'm talking about. Be ready to do some creative things with me tomorrow. Bring whatever it is that you want, but be creative. Be ready to do some things creative. Okay. Okay, put your hands on your heart, please. Close your eyes. And just let the drum, I'm going to this time, and we have not, I do want to also use some chanting. Some mantras are really helpful for lots of reasons. So I will do that today, but we'll get more into that next week. Hands on hearts, please. And you're going to be breathing in for 4, hold your intention, what you want for today, and then exhale out all the energy that you don't need. Relaxing. Last one, a nice deep breath. Feel all the energy around you. Feel your aura. Feel the energy around you. Feel your heart. We're going to continue to unlock those chambers in the heart and spend more time with our inner child as we do creative things next week. Ashe. 3 times, call your full name. Tell yourself you love yourself and that you love everyone else in the world. Karen, Bernadette Cardoza McLean Dade, I love you. Karen Bernadette Cardoza McLean Dade, I love you. I love this blue shirt. Peace is power. Karen Bernadette Cardoza McLean Dade, I love you, girl. You are special. You are the best. You will be with me forever until I lay to rest. I love you, everyone. See you tomorrow, 6 o'clock. Be ready. Bring stuff. Bring good things, good vibes around you. We'll check you tomorrow.